Hey, we are live on Lichess, and we are looking forward to a Crazyhouse match between International Master littleplotkin from Canada and chickencrosspath, who's also an chickencrosspath, who's also online, um, who's obviously his name is a play on the very famous Bughouse player and Crazyhouse player Chicken Cross Road. Not sure which country he's from, but if I was just guessing, I'd say America, but maybe Canada. Who knows? Seem to have lost my original page. Okay, littleplotkin. I'll just open littleplotkin's profile. Mark Plotkin, he's also a streamer, recently a international master, and from Toronto. Very strong chess player, and a non-book player in both chess and Crazyhouse. So let's go. Okay, well, while we're waiting, we can also just take a quick look at how we got here. So littleplotkin has won in rounds 1 and 2. This is a round 3 match. Chickencrosspath had a forfeit win in round 2 against Le Professionnel. And the winner of this match will play Lovelix, who in one of the upsets beat off Burpcow, who was in my area of the draw initially. Burpcow beat me in round 2 rather, but was taken down by Lovelix from Nigeria in round 3. So the winner of this match will play Lovelix, and then the winner of that will play the winner of Dog Answer and either King Switcher and Valandier in round 5. So that will be a place in the candidates match between one of those players. And we are in. Hi there, Patine. Not familiar with chickencrosspath, but I assume Plotkin will win 6-0 to 6-2 at the very worst. So what do I know about chickencrosspath? Yeah, absolutely nothing. I am going to disconnect from the Discord as no one's joining me there, and I think my connection will be more secure without Discord. What I do know is that littleplotkin avoids opening theory mainly, and so if chickencrosspath turns out to be a very theoretical player, he might get some opening edges, and so he might pick up a game or two. I'm not sure if he is or not, so I would therefore predict I'd say 6-1 maybe, just because maybe littleplotkin makes some mistake in some opening and gives one game, maybe. So that's my prediction. I agree, sort of 6-1. But he has to be careful that the chickencrosspath doesn't find some opening. Okay, I see I have the blitzer in the background making piece sounds. I'm just closing that down. So this looks very good, decent. This looks very anti-opening theoretical rather. So he's just given away a pawn for free, has littleplotkin. So it's very creative stuff. This d4 e5, it's totally it's getting your bishops active quickly, but it's totally your opponent's got a pawn in hand to defend everything. So it's really like being 2 pawns down. So definitely just a way of going straight out of book. So if it works, then he could just keep playing this as black and getting interesting games. And I don't know, it looks like black's position just visually it looks quite playable. There are these 2 pawns down. I just wonder, why here and why not here? I see, he was afraid of a pawn drop on the knight, and then this pawn drops. Because obviously you want to push to e4 if you can, it defends this one. It means the bishop still covers d2 and so forth. Okay, so yeah, you can see white does have some kind of space advantage here. Oh, so why didn't he want to? So he couldn't here because of takes, and he didn't want to. Didn't want to. Hang on, he didn't have a pawn in hand at that stage, but he didn't want to waste a piece. So that I think bishop takes, bishop returns here, and then you didn't know what to do. In any case, why not king f8? So yes, king here. It seems actually already quite difficult for black, but he. Okay, you can see how they're two. At some point he's got this if he ever needs it, and so what black does have is this. Black is down a lot of material. So if Lovelace knows, sorry, not Lovelace, if chickencrosspath knows how to defend, this is going to be, or can find a way of defending, this is actually going to be quite tough for black. So two knights in hand, f3 weak, but on the other hand, white does have the extra piece. It's just a whole piece up, and could even. Okay, actually, this is looking really interesting from black. How he does this. He really wanted to get in on the dark squares rather than the light squares. So this is not sure. Wow. So knight takes f2 is the plan. So you have to take it because you lose the queen. Takes back, but now rook here. Rook here. Okay, so this move is actually interesting. It was actually guarding g4. So I imagine he might even take it. But interestingly, this bishop's getting in the way of ideas of at c7 knight takes. Sorry, at c7 knight to b5, those sorts of ideas. So white's bishop is actually getting in the way of his own potential future counterattacks. So rook here, king takes, knight here, king here. I don't see the full continuation. He needs another knight or something. Meaning even as a future threat is what I mean. For now, that this is all defended. Okay, but rook here is annoying because you do just pick up the queen straight up. So king takes pawn, you have got rook takes queen. So yeah, littleplotkin's in the tank, but why not just? It seems like an obvious thing to do. Ah, so he left this option, knight here. There was knight f1 also an idea. I don't know if it did anything. Hang on, didn't? Yeah, knight f1 first looked dangerous because then you take the queen, then you got queen at h2 as a threat. I don't know why he didn't do that as an intermezzo. In this position here. Oh, because the bishop's covering f1. Okay, sorry. Okay. Yes. Okay, so very interesting position. Obviously, there's just a mate threat here with well, bishop at g1 for sure will be mating. Knight here probably is mating here, queen here, get the king out, and then come here and here. Yeah, this will surely be mating. So white is in desperado mode, trying to expend all of black's pieces. But as I said, a knight and a queen. Knight and the queen and the existing queen will just mate. So he used up the knight. Okay, so he's planning bishop at g1, which is also, as we said, a bit of a threat. But very surprised he used up the knight and not the bishop. Okay, he's just trying to kick the knight so he gets queen at h2. And what did white play? Just dropped a bishop. So the bishop's guarding this square. Okay, but this is no good. Okay, so quite an exciting first game there. I don't think Chicken Crosspath ever had like a chance, as it were, like an opportunity, but certainly he looked like he was better after all the sacks, if he could just coordinate his pieces. Hi there, Chuck Moulton, with the Plotkin emote. Yeah, so we're live on Lichess covering this round 3 match. Oh, very aggressive, just putting a pawn on d6. So in chess and also in Crazyhouse, there is a slight risk that you're overextending a little bit if you just go push, push, push. Nothing in hand. Ooh, surely. Yeah, now there's no worry about over. Like, how did this happen? This is such an opening disaster for black. Well, first of all, Chicken Crosspath, you can see he's not interested in playing openings himself. Goes for the Sicilian, which is not a Crazyhouse opening. And, wow, he's just being sat on here. So just bishop takes pawn, for example, is sort of interesting. Oh, it's not his. He could have just gone bishop takes pawn and pawn here. And the queen is trapped. So, but I guess he's playing it more. Don't know, playing it more solidly. I think he's just enjoying his position, enjoying his space advantage. Vladimir Vlachoslavsky says, wasn't bishop takes d6 possible? Yeah, it was, but you still get the queen on d6, and then you can chase the queen away. I guess I'm not really concentrating on the live action, so let's just back up a bit. So you could have gone here, takes bishop, you lose a full piece. You could go here, but then queen takes pawn, so you'd lose a lot of material. You'd lose the piece, probably just cold, lose the piece cold, and still, then this knight would still be hanging. Oh, hang on a second. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, white. Okay, so the idea was actually this. Okay, so the idea was bishop takes d6, e5, and yeah. Okay, so it would be 2 pawns for the piece. It wouldn't be so bad after all. Yeah, knight exactly. Sorry, I'm just so. But this is obviously just terrible for black, and I think white could have just been more aggressive, but instead he gives up the queen and then wins back the queen and is looking to get in on the back rank. So that's the current situation. He's not playing safe house at all. He's just trying to. So queen here is a mate threat, but this will be too quick. Queen takes rook, will mate. This is going to be a very fun mate, actually. This will be a very fun mate. Oh, what? Oh, the bishop defends. Okay. Sorry. I think it's still a fun mate, but yeah. I think it was still a fun mate, queen takes rook, with bishop and rook in hand. We'll have to just analyze it. Queen takes rook, bishop takes. Rook here, check. He could block with a knight. Okay, so maybe the mate wasn't there. Takes. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so maybe it wasn't there after all. So rook here. If you block with the knight, okay, you could always just pick up the bishop and claim you're safe. But I was wondering if rook takes bishop, king takes, knight takes pawn. Yeah, maybe it's not quite there. Okay, so never mind. Again, there was no. He could have always gone queen takes, but I think littleplotkin likes to play dangerous. I mean, this is just knight here, rook here. Oh, so he already had a rook in hand, says Vladimir. Okay, yeah. So he already had a rook in hand, of course. So it was queen takes bishop, sorry, queen takes, rook takes d8, bishop c. This is a back rank mate, exactly. He already had a rook in. He had 2 rooks because he had 1 rook in hand and he was capturing a 2nd rook. So good spot. By the way, Vladimir, who are you on Lichess? Remind me, because Twitch and Lichess usernames are different. And hi there, Link Clegaspi. Let me know who you are on Lichess too. Oh, you're Morlock, of course. Yeah, I should have recognised you from other streams, from the Clearcast stream. So we see a different setup from littleplotkin. He's not, however well something or badly something goes, he looks like he's not going to be repeating lines at all. And well, he's found a breakthrough. Takes, and this could already be won. Castles, knight here, check. I can't quite see the finish, but let's see if we can find it. And hi there, Link. You are Link K1. Hi there. Welcome. We're enjoying some fun Crazy House here. So because this square here is covered and also the king can run, nothing obvious immediately, but there is now a mate for sure. So where's the finish? Bishop here, and then just pawns to finish it. He's got 3 pawns in hand, so the king would have to run up. The king runs back, just pawns on the back rank will mate him. So for example, pawn here, king here, pawn here will mate. So the king has to run up, but then pawn here, simply a pawn is mate. So white resigns. Okay, so that was actually quite pretty. Pretty game 3. 3 love to littleplotkin. Link K1, yeah, hi. So this game, littleplotkin is playing d4, the London system, so really just changing it up every game. In this sort of position, I like personally going bishop here, check. No, I don't. If the knight was back here, I like going bishop there, check, and bringing the knight here. In this position, I like going this. But taking is also reasonable, although taking does give black more control of the center. And I don't like this because of this, and the pawns get a little bit disrupted. So knight here I think is reasonable, and if black ever chases that knight, you're willing to give that knight up for a very powerful central pawn. And Link also likes bishop g3, and if takes h takes g3, that's also perfectly reasonable. Although it does spend a move, so that's why my own preference is blocking the knight. The knight's then in a very powerful central position. But what happened here is his pawns are slightly disrupted, so this doesn't look quite so pretty. Now what's the knight doing there? The knight, he's trying to, because if ever knight takes bishop, simply knight takes knight. So I guess knight going there is just these ideas in the future. If bishop takes knight, pawn takes, because you want to keep the knight defending this one. Yep, you don't want to allow knight takes g7, so you better take back that knight. Takes, yep. And for now, you can't play queen h5 because simply bishop at g6. You have to think, what's your opponent going to do? There's no continuation. So black seems to be doing reasonably here. This is a slight weakness in the position. You can also see bishop here was also an idea, going for c6. But littleplotkin looks like he's going straight for the king. Knight h4 is an interesting idea for black here. If he ever gets a pawn, maybe e3 might be sensitive as well. But yeah, e6 f7 is a slight weak complex. Hi there, Sunny Shots. Or Sane Shots, sorry. Sane Shots. So yeah, actually this might actually be a risk, because king takes knight here, knight takes pawn is actually a pretty big threat. So maybe just castles would be good. And so this is the idea of this move, is takes, and get in on here. So that's why if you just castle, it takes, knight here. But of course you can just take, castles also defends this square. So castles looks good for black, because then rook takes. Rook takes, and and you have an ongoing threat on f4, so it looks very solid actually. But chicken crosspath has gone into the tank, and no move for now. So I have sometimes streamed normal chess, same shots, but I am a Crazyhouse streamer. This, like, what's it doing? He's just going to chase this knight. I thought he might just drop a pawn or something, just chase the knight, then take here. So oh, I mean, this is just really bad from chicken crosspath. He's gone way too passive. Like, imagine in chess putting a, this isn't chess, but actually Crazyhouse is chess at the end of the day. And imagine putting your bishop on g8, blocking in your rook, and just gumming up all your pieces. Like, this is not what you want. And the idea here is, if pawn takes, he's just actually, I'm not sure what he's doing here. Takes. What's the plan? Yeah, no. If pawn takes, what was the plan? If pawn takes, maybe just pawn at f. You don't. It's almost like you don't need to go pawn at f7 because black's position is so bad. This is why white's just castling, just enjoying black's suffering, in a sense. Like, there's no need for me to do anything to your position because you're messing up your own position by. Now, having said that, look, there are times you have to defend, and there are times you have to play dumb-looking moves. But I just thought there was more potential in black's position with a move like castles, and you're putting your rook on the open file, and so black wasn't in a desperado situation where he had to do these sorts of moves. I mean, look at this. Black has got 4 bishops on light squares. So guess what littleplotkin is going to do? He's going to gradually work away on the dark squares. So he's got a bishop in hand. He might. So he had to make sure he was safe first, which is why he put this pawn here, because those bishops on light squares are really like threatening to really rip open his light square. So he had to do a move for safety. Oh, thanks for the raid, Professor Blundermaster. And thanks, Jack Morton, for helping shout him out. What is this? Okay, I see. He's just trying to tempt him. If you take here, I win your queen. Okay. And also, it's not such a bad move. Hey, because pawn takes bishop, there was ideas of knight here, check, and pick up this pawn. So, not so crazy. The only problem is, how are you going to defend your dark squares? And this can be very direct. So how do you defend those two? You have to put a knight here or back off. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, he goes for safety. Okay, I guess because knight takes rook. So, okay, it's just going to be add bishop at f6, bishop here. I'd have thought, but knight here might be a bit annoying. Okay, so he's taking up this one probably. Again, he's quite happy to leave that bishop on g8, so that's why I think he's not going to leave e6 alone. Pawn, just simply ripping open the dark squares. Oh, I'm surprised. Okay, of course he doesn't leave this alone because of the rook file. So takes. So where's the finish? Oh, you bring the queen in, and so you're going to finish with pawns. A pawn here and a pawn here, and the king will end up here at the end. But okay, you'll win a queen on the back rank and something like this. Didn't see. Oh, you're taking the queen as well on d8 at some point along the way. So a pawn check, take the queen on d8 with check, and so pawn check, take the queen on d8 with check, and then queen at either f8 or d7 would be mate. Okay. Ooh, and thanks for everyone joining us. mbitsd coming from Professor Blundermaster. So yeah, I'll definitely check you out. I hadn't hadn't seen your stream, I don't think. And hi there, Swole19. So we're watching littleplotkin take on chickencrosspath. Littleplotkin, international master from Canada, famous streamer himself. You should, if someone can shout out littleplotkin, he's a very popular streamer himself, and he's been helping out with Lefong's streams as well. Yeah, thanks, Chuck. That's great. So what do we see here? We see here a very solid setup from white against this fianchettoed bishop. Like, black has taken a lot of moves to fianchetto his bishop, and white has just built up a solid center. So this is very nice from white so far. And now a very interesting idea from black to against this pawn chain, because he wants to open up his bishop. A very direct attack of I'm going to keep my king in the center and push the g-pawn. So this is a very cool idea. I mean, it does create holes in your position, like h6, g7. But if you look at black's pieces, they're okay. Maybe this bishop's a bit rubbish. The king is stuck in the center a little bit. But there is potential. There's a lot of potential in this position with the rook on the open file, this bishop diagonal potentially coming alive. Pawn here is a threat. Ah, okay, interesting. He didn't take this way because he wanted to get the knight out. Okay. Pawn in training is asking for the match score, so it's 4-0. And we don't need to say who for. And chicken cross path is not chicken cross road. Yeah. And that's clear from the rating as well as. So okay, so knight takes was interesting. What's the idea? He's trying to open up the file. Like he's got takes. If rook takes bishop here would be an idea. If queen takes, maybe he still does bishop here. But still this diagonal is blocked off. What? Yeah. It's interesting. He's going to win a piece back. Is white. So this aggressive knight, he's either going to lose his beautiful knight, or he's going to, yeah. He wants to keep the bishop. Without the bishop, I guess, all of these light squares in black's position become a problem, which is why, even though this knight is beautiful, you have to give the knight away, not the bishop. So bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes, you'd be left with. Your opponent has a bishop to just hit your light squares. Not only do you lose your bishop, but your opponent also gains a bishop, hitting all your light squares. So that you don't really want to lose that bishop. So pawn here, or just ignore apparently. Just ignore, just going straight in. If white ever gets the time, yeah, exactly. Bishop here is a threat. But does he have the time? Because we have here rook takes pawn, king takes. Rook takes pawn. Even rook takes pawn is a sort of, with pawn here following. But yeah, just backing off, it looks sensible. So the threat is at g2, which is too big a threat to ignore. Is it too big a threat to ignore? King here, pawn takes rook is with checks. You'd have to go king takes. Pawn here, maybe king here, rook on the back rank. King back, rook on the back rank. So it's too big a threat. Here, on the other hand, yeah, you're taking the rook with check and the queen next. Ouch. You could also go rook here check. Rook takes pawn check, or pawn takes pawn check, but he just goes for the queen. So hopefully he's seen mate. Okay, this is going to be pretty. Oh yeah, he's seen mate. Okay, nice. Just draw the king into the corner and then queen and pawn mate. So that was a very nice mate. And I hadn't seen it live, so. Oh wow, Agile Sloth. I mean, I'm a lucky streamer today, getting 2 raids with a party of 14. Thanks so much. We're watching this very exciting Crazyhouse match. Well, not exciting in terms of the result, but exciting in terms of the player. littleplotkin's a very exciting player. And he's taking on chickencrosspath, and this is probably going to be the last game, because it's the best of 10. It's a best of 10, and Little Plotkin is already 5 love up, so you just need to draw or a win in the final game. You don't usually get draws in Crazyhouse, that's why it's a very exciting variant of chess. And Little Plotkin, you can see, he's got a very exciting style of play, just goes straight for the opponent king. He's not rook g1 and pushing the g-pawn. It looks sound, actually. I mean, I'm just going to pray through this opening again. You've got to be careful about these sorts of openings because you don't want to create holes in your position. But notice how his knight is actually defending a lot of the light squares, and now he just pushes. So very interesting play. And 4-player chess says knight a3, certainly interesting, yes. But having said that, f6 is really well defended, so he's probably going to go in on h6, so at h6 kind of ideas. He might also try and secure the light squares first. Interesting, so he's giving up this pawn. And what's the idea? He could grab a pawn there, but I don't think that's his intention at all. So you see how if black does survive, there are a lot of potential holes in white's position. Even like pawn here sort of ideas could become a problem. So this is very aggressive play from Little Plotkin. So there are ideas of queen here, sort of lurking in the position. You could take first, and then queen there check and take the bishop, stuff like this. They're definitely ideas. I feel like maybe you had to take this, but then if you take this, simply just rook takes. Okay, so knight here check first. This is like, okay, this is very creative. Oh, this is beautiful. So if you take here, this is a double check. You have to move the king, and the pawn here would be mate, except the knight can take it. So you'd have to take the knight first and then pawn here. So taking it is out of the question. But then not taking it... Oh, this is exciting. So a captured pawn is not... Yeah, a captured pawn goes back to being a pawn. And he's found the mate. Oh, wow. That was amazing. Okay, so that was very beautiful play from Little Plotkin. Real style points here. This knight, I don't think could be taken. And I'm quite surprised how Stockfish is saying king h8, black is actually crushing. Sure, there's knight takes f7, but just takes, and it looks very threatening because rook here is a mate threat, but just simply knight f6, and there's nothing. And you're never afraid to. You might say, okay, but I'm going to lose my queen. Actually, your opponent has got no time to take the queen because there's so many pieces in hand, and all of these holes in the position would suddenly become a problem. So it would be takes, rook at f6. I mean, there isn't any mate, but apparently the white king is actually less safe in this position. But what happened in the game was takes, which opens up the double check possibility. And I was looking for, can we get pawn at g7 mate, but the knight's protecting it, and I completely missed the rook just coming in and this mate next move, because rook takes rook, and then you can promote to either rook or queen as mate. So wonderful games, wonderful match from Little Plotkin. He goes on to face Lovelix in round 4. Thanks everyone for joining, and thanks for all the raids, really appreciate it. If you're interested in Crazyhouse, do drop me a follow. Check out especially my YouTube, where I arrange stuff in playlists for like instructive Crazyhouse content, chess content, other variants content. Haven't got 4-player, but I might have one 4-player video, but mainly it's crazy variants on vchess.club and so on. And if you are interested in Crazyhouse, then what's the command? That's the blog with all the history of Crazyhouse, the current, what's happening in the sidebar, the calendar of what upcoming matches, and so on. So I need chickencrosspath just sent me a message saying Little Plotkin eliminated me. No, he didn't. This is a double elimination event. So I'll just get in touch with Bliss players to tell them who their next opponent is. So thanks everyone for watching. And well played, Little Plotkin. Beautiful way to finish, and lots really, you really got into your stride there. Okay, bye guys.